This video has been brought to you by GoFiber hair fibers, which I'm also using in this video. So if you're interested in trying them out, make sure you visit gofiber.com, get a free sample of your choice and see if you like them. This is going to be a reaction video of a pretty good hair transplant transformation. So good that some guys are even questioning whether it was possible only with 1584 grafts. Hey, what's going on, hair loss friends? It's Matt, the guy who likes to do these hair transplant related videos and also helps out guys with their hair transplant decision as far as choosing the right hair transplant doctor and things along these lines, okay? I decided to do this video to show you guys why sometimes it's not enough to go to the best or one of the best hair transplant doctors in the world to get this magnificent hair transplant result. For younger guys, a sick result, bro. It's not gonna be enough to go there. You have to be a perfect hair transplant candidate or like close to perfect, okay? Now, this guy is close to perfect. Look at this guy. Norwood 3 getting only 1,500 grafts. How can he get away with this? Maybe many of you are asking. Many of you have gone to Turkey with similar type of baldness to begin with and were quoted around 3,000 to 4,000 grafts. I mean, that's normal quote. That's a reasonable quote for such level of baldness. So you're asking, how is it possible? The answer is easy. If your hair genetics suck a little bit more than the hair genetics of this guy, he's like Arnold Schwarzenegger of hair genetics and donor area density. I mean, he's not that good. His donor is like only 85 grafts per square centimeter. I've seen 900, 100 plus, but he's good. He's like 8, 9 out of 10. You know, many of you guys will not be like that. Probably 50% of guys will not be like that. I'm not like that. I'm like 4 to 5 out of 10 type of hair transplant candidate, okay? So clearly I can get a hair transplant, but if I would have this situation to begin with, actually I had it. I was like Norwood 3, Norwood 4. If I would get 1,500 grafts, guys, I wouldn't be able to achieve such density with 1,500 grafts as a Norwood 3, 4 type of guy as I used to be. There is a little trick to this also. This guy didn't look like that in reality. The areas around the temples and mid-scalp were already shaved and prepared for the implantation. So he actually had this diffuse type of hair loss, which makes you feel like, wow, this guy actually has hair. Now, let's not forget that this gentleman has been also on finasteride 18 months prior to his hair transplant, which enabled the doctor to start implanting the new hair in between the diffusely thinning hair, okay, without causing any shock loss. As you can see here, after 11 months, the end result, no shock loss. Clearly you can see that the coverage hasn't been only due to these 1,500 grafts, but also the existing previously diffusely thinning hair, okay? It added on to that whole effect, like marvelous effect. Just be aware of that. By looking at these transformations, it's not something every guy can expect, and the donor area quality is gonna be like, wow, so important, okay? People who are posting such videos, they like to market themselves. Of course, I understand that they like to put it like a Norwood 3 type of guy and only 1,500 grafts. But in reality, let's be honest, he's not like the typical profound Norwood 3 type of guy as I was, okay? I was more like Norwood 4 again. If we take a look at how the hair had been implanted, especially here on the temples, like the largest areas, the density is not that great. It's maybe 30 max grafts per square centimeter. The hairline is a little bit more dense, and that's just because you have to plant a lot of single grafts and they will need a lot of density, because if you don't plant them in a high enough density on the hairline, it can look a little bit, you know, like you can see through the hair. Not good. You can see it clearly. The hair hadn't been planted in a crazy density. It's not a crazy dense packing. We can agree on that. What's the catch, Matt? How this guy was able to get such a dense looking result? Coverage is especially something that I want to talk about in this video. Coverage is something that makes this result so remarkable. Look at his graft distribution. Out of 1,584 grafts, we have only 108 single grafts, which is less than 10%. The vast majority are triple grafts and double grafts, and even some quads, quadruple grafts. 4,050 hairs have been moved, 2.5 hair per graft average. Now, if we take a look at his donor, I think it's 11 months or 10 months after his hair transplant. Like, his donor looks like nothing, like 0 grafts have been moved. Now, let's compare it to an average hair transplant candidate like me. If I got 1,500 grafts extracted in the same single to double to triple to quadruple graft ratio as this guy here, you would have noticed that on my donor area, because I didn't have so many triple grafts in my donor, but a lot of single grafts and double grafts. And also the graft density per square centimeter of my donor area wasn't as high as by this guy over here. It was maybe around 70 at most. This guy can get second transplant and he can still have plenty of triples in his donor, I'm sure. But for an average hair transplant candidate, you can do it only once at most. This is very important, so make sure you understand it. And now let's take a look at his hairline positioning and let me give you some thoughts on that. It's quite risky to do such low hairlines if you're 26. We can agree on that in general, but this guy is an exception. We can also agree on that. Why? He has been on finasteride for 18 months, almost 2 years prior to his hair transplant. Yes, he's only 26, but it's not like he's like complete Norwood 3. He had like diffuse thinning here and there, and he has really good donor. So no matter how far his hair loss is going to progress in the future, it's very likely that he's going to be able to cover all of it up, okay? It's very likely. And he's going to stay on finasteride probably for a very long time also. Now, what is a good and bad hair transplant candidate, Matt? Am I just average candidate or what? Well, having strong donor area is going to be like the most important feature you should have in order to be like good enough of a hair transplant candidate or close to perfect. I mean, if you have plenty of doubles, triples, and quads, not so many singles, then you are good. You know, you can have like 2-3 larger FUEs with like good coverage, because there's going to be still enough doubles and triples during each first, second, or third FUE. Now, if you don't have that, you can get some doubles and triples with your first FUE, but if you want to do second or third one, the vast majority you will be left with are singles. Like myself, I had it in my second hair transplant. In my third transplant, probably even more singles, couple doubles, not anymore triples. I need to do beard extraction, stuff like that, you know? That's why I'm just like average hair transplant candidate. Second thing, skin to hair color. Well, if you have like white beaming skin, which is kind of shining through your dark hair, well, not good. High contrast. You will need more coverage to cover it up, the difference between the dark and white, or black and white. Now, if you have thin hair, you will need even more hair to kind of cover it up, right? Because if you have darker, not just darker, but thicker hair, which is more coarse, which is maybe curling a little bit, creating a nice coverage all over the surface here, it's gonna be much better. You will need less hair to create a good coverage, an illusion of density, if you will. So here, these are the things that kind of add up and can make you a 10 out of 10 hair transplant candidate or 5 out of 10 hair transplant candidate, okay? It was just a longer rant. I mean, maybe it's pointless, maybe you learned something from it. I hope you learned something from this video, guys. I know there is crazy conditions outside. You know, you cannot even go out almost because of the coronavirus, and it's challenging times, okay? You are loading up on some beer, on some toilet papers and whatever, and that's why I thought like, hey, why not make a longer video? These guys are gonna be watching YouTube anyways. They're just bored at home sitting, you know, researching hair transplants. So I use this time to make a longer video for you. So hope you enjoyed this. I hope you are healthy. I hope you are safe. Nobody's having coronavirus. It's gonna be good, guys. Just wait a couple weeks. The vaccines will come. It's gonna be good, and my videos are gonna be awesome also. At the end of this video, if you are interested in a hair transplant, if you are considering transplant, you don't know which doctor to go to, maybe you would go to this doctor that I just show you right now, but he's like too expensive, which he I think is. I'm not gonna say his price anyways. You need some options. Then you should apply for a consultation with me. In the description below, there is a link to my website, mattdominance.com/mentoring, where you can apply for a consultation with me. I'm gonna get on a call with you whenever it's suitable for both of us. It's one-on-one consultation where I'm gonna advise you Some guys, I start at the beginning of their hair transplant research. Some guys already came with some suggestions on clinics that have been researching for a while. So I'm going to evaluate it with you, explain you what's important to look for, what's not, which quote or which doctor do I like more, what would I choose, stuff like that, you know? So some guys, beginners, they need assistance during the whole hair transplant research. Some guys, we start at the beginning, we do one consultation and it's over. They find a good doctor and they're ready to go. They get a great results, they're happy, and so on, like this guy. So yeah, make sure you apply for a consultation and then we will solve any issues you may have, hair transplant related, clinic related, hair loss related, all things along these lines, okay? It was a pleasure talking to you boys, guys and girls, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.